Tanya. I am delighted to welcome Janice Mathis as our keynote speaker today. She is the Executive Director of the National Council of Negro Women, NCNW, an affiliation of 32 national women's organizations and 200 campus and community-based sections with a total membership reaching more than 2 million women and men, and with status as a non-governmental organization, or NGO, recognized by the United Nations. NCNW affiliates include Delta Sigma Theta sorority, the Lynx, Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and other influential groups. If you haven't read our article about her in the newscaster, please do so. It provides an overview of the wealth of experience she brings to her work, and I don't want to just repeat it because you can read it for yourself. I do want to mention several things she has done that we couldn't include in the article that really intrigued me and that I just picked out at random. For example, prior to joining NCNW, Janice was General Counsel and Vice President of Reverend Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Push Coalition and Citizenship Education Fund. She served as a speechwriter and issues director for Michael Dukakis's 1988 presidential campaign. She and her sister host a weekly legal advice program called Sisters in Law on Atlanta Radio News and Talk, 1380 WAOK. And in 1996, she was a Centennial Olympic Community Hero and carried the Olympic torch a portion of its route through Athens, Georgia. I think that must have been fun. Janice is a lawyer, negotiator, advocate, administrator, team builder, and lifelong activist. She's going to talk about how race and gender matter in elections and politics. There will be time for asking questions and joining in the conversation. So please now give Janice Mathis a warm welcome.
Thank you, Linda, for that gracious and generous introduction. And thank you for the invitation. I know it was you who's behind this, and I'm delighted to be here. I first tried to set up a podium type setup here in my house, but I couldn't figure it out. So I'm actually seated. We'll see how this works. But I got to hear a little bit of the prior discussion. It was very good, very informative. So I'm pleased to be here with the Business and Professional Women of Maryland today. And I just want to start out thinking about this being the anniversary of women's suffrage. I'm a lifelong member of the League of Women Voters. That's where I really honed my teeth as an activist and organizer in Athens, Georgia as a law student. And those of us who know the League know that it was founded in 1920, the same year as the 19th Amendment. So it was 100 years ago that women were formally written into the United States Constitution with the ratification of the 19th Amendment, granting women the right to vote. The 19th Amendment was an inflection point. It represents a high water mark for women's rights. But in reality, the struggle goes back much further and continues even today. 144 years earlier, in a letter that many of you are probably familiar with, dated March 31st, 1776, Abigail Adams wrote to her husband, John, "I long to hear that you have declared an independency. And by the way, in the new code of laws, which I suppose it will be necessary for you to make, I desire you would remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Do not put such unlimited power into the hands of the husbands. Remember, after all men would be tyrants if they could. If particular care and attention is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to foment a rebellion and will not hold ourselves bound by any laws in which we have no voice or representation." It took another 144 years for Abigail Adams' rebellion to become law. The first major gathering devoted to women's rights in the United States was held July 19th and 20th, 1848 in Seneca Falls, New York. The principal organizers Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Lucretia Mott, and about 100 other people attended the convention, 2/3 of whom were women. Frederick Douglass, the great abolitionist, was there, but no Black women attended. Stanton drafted a declaration of sentiments, grievances, and resolutions that echoed the preamble of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created equal. What this meant, among other things, was that they believed women should have the right to vote. Women voted in New Zealand in 1893, in Australia in 1895, in Russia in 1907, and in Finland in 1913. Many of the early suffragists were also abolitionists, as no doubt you know. Suppose Frederick Douglass and the abolitionists had given up when the Supreme Court decided Dred Scott in 1857, 3 years before the Civil War. That was a dark time in the nation's history. The US Supreme Court held that African Americans, whether slave or free, could not be American citizens and therefore had no standing to sue in federal court. Only 20 years after Dred Scott, to show how things can change, on January 10th, 1878, as Reconstruction was ending in the southern states, Senator Aaron Sargent, a Republican from California, introduced Senate Resolution 12, providing the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. The Senate sent the so-called Susan B. Anthony Amendment to the Committee on Privileges and Elections. The following day, women testified for the first time before senators on the issue of woman suffrage. History records that the 1878 amendment giving women the right to vote was defeated 42 years before it was finally ratified. Suppose the women's suffrage movement had given up in 1878. You really can't let darkness hold you back from doing what is right. Just like the language from Seneca Falls, this proposal mirrored familiar language. The 15th Amendment reads, the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta, as you can tell from this Delta symbol I'm wearing. And it's an interesting bit of history to know that the sorority was started because 22 young ladies, students at Howard University, wanted the right to vote. They marched down Pennsylvania Avenue behind the white women delegates. It took 7 more years for the 19th Amendment to pass. You really can't let the darkness of intimidation hold you back from doing what is right. The victory of 1920 was indeed a victory, but it was an imperfect victory. As a practical matter, the 19th Amendment did not result in universal suffrage for women. Black women, especially in the South, did not vote in significant numbers until much later, due to a coordinated and well-documented campaign of intimidation, poll taxes, literate tests, and state-sanctioned statutes and customs. I think there is a slide that I want to share with you now. It's an old newspaper clipping from the Greenville News where I grew up. And it's dated 1948. And the caption says, 72 years of the lack of the Negro vote ends. My own mother, who was born in 1920, did not vote in state and local elections until 1948, when the whites-only Democratic primary in our home state of South Carolina was finally outlawed. 1948 was a watershed year in many ways. Mary McLeod Bethune was the founder of National Council of Negro Women, convinced Harry Truman to integrate the military in 48. And Strom Thurmond left the Democratic Party, he was senator from South Carolina, to form the Dixiecrats. Clearly, change was blowing in the wind. Beginning in 1972 and continuing today, there is an effort to adopt the Equal Rights Amendment as a way to strengthen the effect of the 19th Amendment. After all, the point of voting is not just to be admitted to the polling place. The end result of voting should be public policy that facilitates the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, or as political scientists sometimes say, the allocation of scarce goods and resources. The Equal Rights Amendment would guarantee equal rights for all American citizens, regardless of sex. Many of the legal distinctions between men and women have been erased by statute, but ERA would provide the heightened protection of a constitutional guarantee of equal treatment. So far, the ERA has failed to achieve ratification by 3/4 of the states. In that clipping, that tiny little person standing to the right with her back to the camera was my mother. And next to her is my grandfather. And they're going to register to vote. My grandfather's posing as if he's there to guarantee that nothing amiss takes place. Having a Black woman photographed in the Greenville News was so rare that this has become a family heirloom and keepsake. Mama registering to vote. She was 28 years old at that time. It should not be surprising that those states that have failed to ratify ERA are many of the same states that permitted the enslavement of Black people. These are some of the same states that were singled out in 1965 for mandatory pre-clearance of all proposed changes in voting laws, practices, and procedures under Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act. Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Louisiana, and Mississippi. There is remarkable consistency between discrimination based on race and discrimination based on sex. As a Black woman, you sometimes find yourself in a peculiar situation. One of those occurred to me back in 2003. Many years ago, Augusta National, the home of the famed Masters Golf Tournament, came under fire for its refusal to admit women. I led a group of women from Athens and Atlanta to join the protest started by Martha Burke. The question was raised to me, why do Black women care about golfing at an all-white, all-male country club? You don't play golf. You don't have the money to join Augusta National. Augusta National is a private club, so the argument went, can't they admit whomever they like? I was familiar with Augusta. It's a medium-sized town on the Georgia side of the Savannah River that separates Georgia from South Carolina. I spent a good amount of time in Augusta. It is the home of the Medical College of Georgia. There's a large military base in Augusta, and it is the home of a small liberal arts, historically Black college called Payne College. Payne is affiliated with the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church, the denomination I grew up in, and the denomination into which my father was ordained a Methodist minister. Augusta is 100 miles from Greenville, where I grew up, so I knew Augusta. When the Masters comes to Augusta, people leave town and make money renting out their homes to golf fans. When the Masters comes to town, the police and the state patrol go on overtime. The schools close. The garbage workers go on overtime. The hospitals and EMTs staff up. The small airport beefs up for the private planes that come in from all over the world. To me and to many others, the fact that Augusta National was a private club, or is, was almost irrelevant because the whole town, including its taxpayers, helped to foot the bill for the Masters. So our little band of activists rode down to Augusta to protest. Eventually, the club was integrated by Condoleezza Rice and a very wealthy philanthropist who grew up in South Carolina named Carla Moore. As fate would have it, Carla's father and my father had something in common. Football is like a religion in South Carolina. The Clemson Tigers reported that the South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2011 consists of legendary Greenville coach Joe Mathis and Gene Moore, who played football and baseball at Clemson University. Darla, the daughter of Gene Moore, was there the night of the induction ceremony. We were both there to accept the posthumous award to our dads. She didn't know me, but I knew who she was. I think I will always regret not attempting that night to strike up a conversation with Darla. Two South Carolina girls, both born in 1954, both attended the University of South Carolina. One white, one Black, one wealthy, one working class, Both fathers played football. Both were deceased. Both women, interestingly, kept their maiden names. Mine Mathis, hers Moore. It could have been an interesting conversation, but I chickened out. So this is what I want to say to you today. We're all in this together. After 400 years, we are a part of each other and possibly being. Women's Equality Day and the anniversary of the 19th Amendment remind us that all people desire and deserve equal protection and equal opportunity. In fact, all people do. Although there may have been times when perhaps my race or gender were barriers or held against me, I never felt truly oppressed. And I think that is because there was a good education, abiding faith, and strong parents. But what about those who are not as fortunate? What about those who need a helping hand? The nation has made progress in many areas of sex discrimination. The nomination of Kamala Harris to be Vice President of the United States is surely a sign that many Americans are ready for equality. A couple of examples make the point, however, that there is still work to be accomplished. According to the American Bar Association, the percentage of U.S. lawyers who are women steadily rose from 31% in 2010 to 37% in 2020. In other words, representation of women among lawyers rose 25% over the decade since 2010. By comparison, the percentage of lawyers who are Black remains steady at 5%, showing no increase at all. But perhaps most telling is what is missing from the ABA statistical report. It does not indicate specifically how Black women are represented in the profession. Data USA reports that 51.7% of engineering degrees were earned by white men in 2012. By 2017, white men earned 46% of engineering degrees. White women earned 11% of engineering degrees in 2012, a number that increased to 12% by 2017. Black men earned 2.8% of engineering degrees in 2012 and in 2017, with no increase or decrease. Black women saw a decline in engineering degrees earned from 1.04% in 2012 to 0.93% in 2017. There is plenty of darkness across the nation today. Burnt orange skies on the West Coast remind us that the environment is in peril. The racial wealth gap, the recent civil unrest over Black Lives Matter across our country, and COVID-19 have shed a harsh light on centuries of racial, gender, and economic inequality. The median wealth of white households is 10 times that of African-American households. Does that mean that the average white family is 10 times as industrious, 10 times as stable, 10 times as smart? Only 44% of African Americans own a home, compared to 74% of white Americans. In 1980, the top 1% share of income that was to white Americans was about, and in Europe, was about 10%. In 2016, the top 1% in Western Europe had about a 12% share of income, compared to 20% in the United States. And in the United States, the bottom 50% income share fell from more than 20% in 1980 to 13% in 2016. Lean In, an organization whose mission is to help women achieve their ambitions and work to create an equal world, reports that Black women are paid less than white men and white women. On average, Black women in the US are paid 38% less than white men and 21% less than white women. If we shared more, perhaps we would get along better. Unfairness breeds conflict and strife. Some police officers apparently see Black skin but don't see a person. They see something that has no value or something that is a menace. As Dr. King put it, Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, because we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. You have no doubt heard the expression, "it is always darkest just before dawn." According to one source, that means there is hope, even in the worst of circumstances, even in the midst of a pandemic. And there's plenty of darkness in our world: the pandemic, the economic uncertainty, the police misconduct. But part of what makes us Americans is our propensity to fight through adversity. There are many examples in history of Americans combating darkness of despair with the light of activism born of a fierce desire, a fierce yearning for progress. Suppose we had given up trying to get the King holiday. When I was a law student at the University of Georgia, we marched around the law school every year from 1977 to 1980, protesting. It finally became a holiday in 1983 when Ronald Reagan signed the bill. But that was after 6 million Americans signed a petition in favor of the holiday. South Carolina was the last state to make the King holiday official 17 years after its passage in the year 2000. Thousands of people marched in Greenville, making Greenville County the last county in the state and the last one in the nation to recognize the King holiday. And in order to achieve it, we had to cross over and vote in the Republican primary to defeat anti-King holiday county commissioners. Irony of ironies. Despite the darkness, there is still the light of hope. That's what John Lewis meant about getting into good trouble. We make progress usually as a result of citizens standing up for a better, fairer way. It can be a very slow progress, as the 19th Amendment demonstrates. Progress usually comes from discord. Students got the voting age lowered in 1972 during the Vietnam era out of the horror of Kent State. The Voting Rights Act was paid for by the unearned suffering on Edmund Pettus Bridge on Bloody Sunday in Selma. The question we have to answer is, what are we willing to sacrifice for the Republic? America is not a race or religion or even a culture. At its best, the United States is a flimsy, utopian set of ideals that we pursue in search of a more perfect union. To paraphrase Frederick Douglass' famous 4th of July speech, what does the 19th Amendment mean to Black women? Celebration of the 19th Amendment should spur us to continue to work assiduously to close the remaining opportunity gaps, not only to improve the quality of individual lives, but to form a more perfect union where all talent is recognized and rewarded. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Is there any questions at this time for Janice?
Madam President, this is Jennifer Jones, and I don't have a question, but I would just like to acknowledge, honor, and celebrate Janice Mathis for not only joining us today, but for all of the powerful words, the history, her own story, and every single thing that she shared with us today, that we as women have to work together, all of us, and allow each of us to celebrate us while we're working together. Thank you so much, Ms. Mathis. I wish that I could share the recording with 1,000 people in my own Get Out the Vote efforts this month. And I just want to honor and celebrate you, and honor and celebrate you, LaKenya, Linda, Susan, and the entire Maryland BPW family for just this wonderful day of inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. That's awfully kind.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer. And it's always a pleasure that you're able to join us. So again, thank you, Janice, and I'm proud to say thank you, Sora Mathis.
Ah,
Can I ask a question, LaKenya? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Hi, Janice. I'm Susan Hurst, and I was just wondering what you could recommend for us that, since most of us can't go out and about, what is the best, most effective thing we can do to help with alleviating voter suppression and getting people to vote?
I think there are many things. I think one of the blessings of our generation is this internet connectivity that we have. If you're active on social media, find people that you agree with on Twitter or Facebook, or post your own stories, your own videos. Young folk especially are swayed by messages that they see on the internet and on social media. And there is a lot of misleading information out there. So it's important for those voices for democracy and fairness and truth and the American way and the things that we all believe in. We need to make sure that we balance that out. So when you see something, I saw on Twitter not too long ago, a statement that you better not apply for financial aid and fill out the FAFSA, because if you do, you'll be drafted into the military and you'll have to go to war. And people were just tweeting about it, and people saying, I'm not gonna fill it out, and I'm thanks for telling me that. We haven't had a military draft in the United States in 40 years. Nobody's being drafted. But because it was an echo chamber of all younger people who can't remember the 70s or Vietnam or any of that, it was circulating as a falsity. So that's one thing. Be active in communicating through the tools that we have. I'm in that generation. I wanted to go to that march on Washington so bad I could just taste it. But I'm 65 years old, and my marching days are about done until the pandemic is over. The other thing you can do is, if there are parties or candidates, and you probably can't do it in the name of the business and professional women, but you can volunteer to staff a phone bank. You can do that from your home. They will send you the list of people to call. And that's another way of getting involved. And of course, you know, we're a little bit privileged. We have a little bit more money at this point in our lives, so you can donate to causes like the League and others who are out, the Lawyers Committee, NAACP. There are lots of organizations that are doing that work. You can get on their mailing list and donate to some of them. So donate, phone bank, be active on social media, some of the quick and easy ways. And of course, be in touch with your members of Congress, although I don't expect they're gonna be doing much between now and November.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know some people are doing postcard writing, and I don't know if that's effective or whether that's just going in the trash.
You know, the good thing about a postcard, you almost have to look at it before you put it in the trash, because there's no envelope to open. So I like postcards. As a matter of fact, that Greenville push for the King holiday, my sister and her husband addressed 5,000 postcards on their living room floor and mailed them. And we voted in the Republican primary for people who had pledged that they would support the King holiday and ousted the anti-King faction. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, postcards do work.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you all for your attention. Are there any other questions? If not,
I have a question.
Sure, Rebecca, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great.
I was wondering if you had a particular time that you voted that felt especially meaningful or impactful, voting for anything, whether it be in a presidential election or, you know, even a, you know, school president, or do you have a story of when you voted that it was really meaningful to you? I would love to hear it.
There's so many, I could bore you to death. In
I got that.
1968, I was an 8th grader in a newly integrated junior high school in Greenville, South Carolina. And they assigned students to create a presidential debate. And so it was Hubert Humphrey, and I can't really recall who the other candidate was, but I got to play Hubert Humphrey in the debate. And so that was pretty cool. It wasn't an actual vote, but it was meaningful to me. And then I was part of that contingent that first voted in 1972. So I wanted to end the Vietnam War. I was deadly serious about it. I had friends who were in the lottery. So the chance to vote for a candidate who had pledged to end the Vietnam War was meaningful to me. And of course, I must say that voting for Barack Obama was especially sweet. I worked in Chicago when he was in the state Senate and got to meet him long, before he was famous and everybody knew who he was. And he'd come over to Operation Push on Saturday with his blue jeans on and his little baseball cap. And there were two things that he was so smart, but almost shy. And I hadn't had a chance to talk to him since he's been elected. I'm looking forward to maybe running into him one day. But I thought, what a remarkable person, but completely unassuming. And so those are some of the special. And of course, my own dad ended up on city council. So I'm one of those people that sort of grew up in politics and activism, and I probably couldn't stop it if I wanted to.
Thank you so much. That was great.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
also, can we all just have a moment to miss having an intelligent president?
Yeah, NCNW.
I miss Obama so much.
Well, at least one who understands the difference between truth and untruth, understands that there is such a thing as truth. But I tell you what else I think about that. Back when I came along, if you could do college work, somebody would pay for you to go to college. I was a beneficiary of wonderful educational opportunity because at that time we were in the Cold War and Russia was our enemy. And Jack Kennedy was having us getting to be physically fit in case the nuclear bomb dropped and we had to hide under our desk. And so every child was precious. There was a sense that we need to educate all children. By the time I got out of law school, I think I owed $1,500 for the whole Duke, the undergrad, the law school and everything. You can't do that now. We have commoditized education to the point that it is a luxury item. And that does us all a disservice. And the point I want to make is some of those who vote for candidates who can't tell the difference between a truth and a lie feel that they've been left out of the American dream. They've been left out of the proposition. The elites have taken over, and if you didn't go to Harvard or Yale or Princeton, you're no good. If you don't have a college degree, you'll be looked down on. Some of the best work in the country is that will be done by technicians who have 2-year associate degrees. We've got to do more. Those of us who are privileged, and I count myself, Black and female and all, I count myself as privileged. We owe it to our fellow citizens to help them have more of a chance at the American dream. You look at Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, those are some of the worst represented people in the country. They're voting for people who do not help them improve the quality of their lives. And they get misguided into thinking that it's some brown person from Mexico or some Black person from Chicago who's taking their jobs, when in effect, I studied economics just enough to be dangerous. Racism is inefficient because it causes people to make bad decisions on bad data.
Yeah, I agree.
And we've got to do more to share the American dream with all. There's enough here for everybody. There's enough opportunity in these United States for everybody. And we can't let people in the mountains of Appalachia or people in the Delta of Mississippi feel that they've been cut out of this deal. That's not fair. We need them and they need us. And I didn't mean to preach, but Daddy was a Methodist preacher.
Oh, you preach. It's great. Thank you so much. That was fantastic.
Thank you all very much. I'm going to hang around for a little bit and hear the rest of we got another 30 minutes, but we don't need to go on another 30 minutes unless you want to.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you,
Yes.
Lakeena.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We have learned a lot this afternoon. And in appreciation, we will be forwarding you a gift to convey our many thanks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And visit ncnw.org if you have a chance.
Yes, please do. I'm a proud member, so yes, please visit. The chair will now recognize Susan Hurst and Rebecca Wise to host our suffrage celebration.
Okay, question for Steve.
Yep.
And you put up the PowerPoint.
Yes, yes. I didn't know whether you wanted to run the PowerPoint and the video, or should I share?
Well, I've got that one video that you gave me.
Right.
And I think probably it's better, I could try the video and then if you do the PowerPoint.
Sure.
Okay.
Just bear with me in case you see my entire screen.
Yep. Now, do you just tell me when you want to do the video?
Okay, so we want to run, so I'll just give a little introduction. Yes, we want to do the little short teen video first, and then we'll have a trivia suffrage competition going on here. And then we are going to be honored with an original anthem sung by Kate Campbell Stevenson. And I do have that on tape. She's not going to do it live, but Kate is with us. And we're so delighted that Kate, who's producer, actor, director, writer extraordinaire, is with us today. And we had many great women who were busy this morning and they were doing other events today, but I'm glad you're here. So if Steve can run the little teen video, I just want to give you an intro. In Montgomery County, we did a suffrage celebration, and some teenagers from the high schools were asked what they thought about women voting and the possibility of women getting elected to president and vice president. So after we have a little clip of some suffrage scenes, we will hear from some teens about their hopes for women holding the highest office in the land. And then we'll go over to a trivia contest, and Rebecca and I will give you questions, and whoever answers first. I think that the answer, Steve, should go to you. Is that how do you recommend people respond to the answers?
In chat, right?
In chat?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it'll be multiple choice, so you don't have to type fast. You can just type A, B, C, D. And I think whoever posted in chat first wins that round. Yeah.
Yeah, we just need somebody to keep count.
Keep track.
Keep track of who gets the answers. Most of you know a lot of these questions already. Some of you don't, and I even learned a lot. And I have to thank Linda Mahoney, for teacher extraordinaire, for developing this quiz on suffrage. And we could go on and on and on, but right now, if Steve can run the short video.
Of course, keep on talking because it's
oh, it's not coming up.
Of course, it like I had it all ready to go. Oh, okay, so you want the teen girl one?
Yeah, the teen girl's the short one first, and then we'll do the trivia.
Okay, all right, hold on.
Thank you.
Just keep on chatting there while I.
Yeah, there were so many wonderful suffrage celebrations, and they're all recorded. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to some of these fabulous speakers, I remember I've heard Dr. Ida Jones from Morgan State several times. She's a powerful speaker, and we had many celebrations across the state. And the Maryland Commission for Women also has a wonderful one. Okay, here we are.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do, we're keeping our fingers crossed that this is the sound is going to work. I'm going to mute everybody, including Susan, because this will be working off my speakers. Okay, so if for some reason that you can't hear it, if you adjust the volume on your computer, but fingers crossed. Okay, so here we go.
Thank you.
Yes. And we are going to press play.
this Women's Equality Day, I want to celebrate the special qualities that women bring to leadership, their creativity, resilience, and empathy. When I think of the strides that we've made and how we can move forward, one thing that's so important is normalizing women in leadership. I'm not sure if we may have a woman president in 8 years, but I know the first step is normalizing it so it doesn't seem so impossible to envision. I'm looking forward to see the strides that we'll make in Montgomery County and celebrating this day with you all.
The quality that comes out of a woman in leadership positions is that I found that it tends to be more understanding and more compassionate than their male counterparts. I think a big reason that we don't see more women in leadership positions is because a lot of them lack the support and the means to run a successful campaign. And I think that we as a society need to be more supportive and encouraging of our fellow women leaders. And yes, of course, I would hope that we have a female president or vice president in the next 8 years. And I hope to see it.
I think many of the several qualities that women have in leadership roles is one of them being communication. I feel like women are very good at communicating, especially with our feelings, but in general, whenever something needs to be known, something needs to be said, we will say it. And it's important to have communication because everyone needs to know what's happening, what's going on next, what's our plan of action. Another quality I feel is important in leadership is being very inclusive, especially when you're working with other people. In leadership, you are working with other people, and I feel like those people need to feel like they're involved and that they're important, they're equally important as everyone else that's present. So being inclusive is also very important as a leader. I think a way that we can promote equality and ensure that women hold more leadership positions in the future is to understand that women are completely capable of doing the same exact jobs as men do. And I feel like there's still that stigma that women can't, and we need to get rid of that. So I think it all starts with the mindset that women are equal to men. So it starts with that. I do believe that in the next 8 years or so, we will get a female vice president or president. And I say that because you see women like Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris, they're pushing to get to those positions that only men have held. And I feel like doing that, they're kind of leading by example and maybe inspiring other women to reach for those positions. And who knows, even young people like myself, they could want to push to reach that position as well. So it's like inspiration for everybody.
I believe that women bring empathy, compassion, and more importantly, experiences of 50% of the population to their leadership roles. I believe there will definitely be a woman president within the next 8 years, and I believe it's our job to inspire and give confidence to young women to fill these leadership roles in the future.
Qualities that I think women bring into leadership positions is that we're so caring. We're able to try and understand another person and try and put ourselves in their shoes to see stuff from their perspective, which especially in our current climate is very important and essential. And I think it's often women that are able to accomplish that. Beyond that, ways that I think society can bring women to those and promote them to those leadership positions is by breaking down our stereotypes that have honestly been fed to us since we were children, and understanding that women can really be whatever they want, and we're not just boxed into one single image that, once again, we were fed at such a young age.
3 things that make women great for leadership roles is their creativity, their compassion, and their ability to create consistency for those around them. 2 things that we must do in order to promote equity and equality amongst women and men is to stop undermining and labeling women before we ever get the chance to know them and determine how qualified they are for jobs. Within the next 8 years, I do hope and believe that we will have a female vice president, but I also do believe that America has a large amount of people that aren't ready to see a female president.
I think women bring really important qualities of empathy and good listening skills to leadership positions, which is why I think countries that elect women and countries that have women leaders right now are doing the best at containing the coronavirus all over the world. And yes, I do think that this country can elect a woman in the next 8 years to the office of the presidency. However, I do think that it's going to require a lot of effort from all of us in supporting her and campaigning for her and convincing the American public that this is something that we are ready for.
Women bring many different leadership qualities to leadership positions.
They're creative, collaborative, critical thinkers, and have a high emotional intelligence. If society truly wants to promote gender equality and wants women in these leadership positions, we have to encourage girls at a young age. We have to let them know that they are powerful enough, that they are smart enough to go after these positions and do well at them. I don't know if I foresee a female president within the next 8 years, but I definitely foresee one in my lifetime, and I'm excited to see that happen because women are more than capable to lead this country.
I think women have the opportunity to bring new, fresh perspectives to leadership roles from all of the prejudice and oppression that we faced and the perspectives that that brings us. I think that to keep an equitable society where we can keep women in power, we have to listen to what women have to say and implement those changes that they want to see in order to prevent any more prejudices from going on in our society. I really, really do hope that we have a woman president within the next 8 years, although I am unsure about how that will go.
Women bring a wide variety of qualities to leadership positions, such as risk-taking, being able to really step outside the box and accomplish what we really believe in. Resilience. We face many hardships being told we can't do something that we know we can. And a unique sense of passion to empower other women to continue to take on more leadership positions and continue to break down their barriers. Society can promote equality and really help ensure more women are in leadership roles by supporting us women in jobs, providing equal opportunities and referral programs to succeed in the work environment that are male dominant. And in the next 8 years, I do believe a woman will be president. It hopes for a change for our nation because we can and we will do it. Thank you.
All right. How did that sound?
Good.
Okay.
Susan? Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just talking to myself here. Okay.
Oh, well, I just wanted to say that one girl who doubted that it would happen, just, you know, and I yeah, it's hard to see it happening at this point, but it was so hard to hear her say that. It really got to me.
I know a lot of us probably are not involved with young people, but we do have some members who are mentoring high school girls, and they are working very hard. So I think that's one thing that we can be an example and try to provide inspiration for young women who are going to be our future. The future is feminist. We want to make sure that we're there. Okay, I'm going to try to get up the, let me see how to do this first. I have to get up the, okay, let's start this. Am I able to share?
Yes.
Okay.
If you go down to the bottom and hit share screen.
Okay, let me get this out.
If not, let me know and I can do it.
Oh.
After you hit share screen, then go and choose whichever, they'll show all your open boxes. Choose the one you want.
You know, Rebecca, if you can do it, then I'm having a problem here.
Let me download the presentation real quick.
Okay. It's the BPW Maryland Trivia Suffrage PowerPoint.
All right, here we go. Woohoo! All right, can you see it? No?
Yeah, and you can just click the present, you know.
It's on my other screen here.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when you enable editing, yeah, it'll.
Go back to the question.
Whoops.
You booed me.
What?
You want to do slideshow at the top there.
This one?
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll work.
There's that.
There we go.
There you go.
Got it? All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I have two monitors here, so it was appearing on the wrong one at first. All right, so let's go.
So yeah, we're limited to about the next 10 minutes or so. So we'll see how far we go.
All right, round one. Question. She was the U.S. delegate to the United Nations who championed and won approval of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. The options are A, Jean Kirkpatrick, B, Eleanor Roosevelt, or C, Shirley Temple Black. And you can just pop up your answer in chat.
Okay, let's see.
Karen
The first
Avelius.
the first response is Karen Williams, who says A.
All right, let's see if she's right.
Well,
Did anyone say B?
Yep. The second response was Karen Evelis, who said B. So she's the winner.
So she wins that round. Good job, Karen.
No, it's not this first question. Okay, just move to the second one there. Okay, number two, a teacher who campaigned for 45 years for women's right to vote. She was arrested for voting in New York. She appeared before every Congress from 1869 to 1906. Mary McLeod Bethune, Susan B. Anthony, or Helen Keller.
Okay, Anne is the first response. Anne Mazingo with B.
Hey, she's right.
But also just very close behind was Karen Evelis and Karen Williams.
Karen Williams, you've already done this test.
Okay, born into slavery, she was one of the first Black women to successfully challenge a white man in court. She is famous for her speech, "Ain't I a Woman?" A, Cathay Williams, B, Sojourner Truth, C, Harriet Tubman. I love seeing the chat light up before I even finish.
Okay, Karen Evelis says B.
Yes.
And Debbie and LaKenya should also get credit for being very close behind.
Good job.
Okay, one of the first generation of female college graduates, she founded settlement houses to help immigrants acclimate to cities and educate their children. She was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for her lifetime work for international peace. Was it Ellen Gates Starr, Martha Gellhorn, or Jane Addams?
Once again, Karen Evelis is the fast one with C.
Oh, hey, she's right again. Has she played this before too?
Followed by Debbie Paffel and LaKenya.
Oh, good job, guys.
No, I've never done it before.
Well,
oh, you're just a genius. Okay.
This is great. Yeah. So Karen's last name is Avelius.
Avelius, okay.
Yes. Okay, go for it, Rebecca.
Barred from singing in Washington, D.C.'s Constitution Hall, her concert at the Lincoln Memorial was a triumph over bigotry for this international star. Marian Anderson, Billie Holiday, Mahalia Jackson.
All right, Debbie was the fast one this time with A.
She is correct.
And followed by Janice Mathis and LaKenya and Mona.
There's a mural of her in the Department of Interior building.
Oh,
cool. It's of her up there with the crowd. It's seen from the back of the crowd. It's and it clean.
Okay, great. Okay,
Are you up or am I up?
Oh, I don't remember. This Quaker, the leader of the National Women's Party, organized the Women's Suffrage March of 1913 and helped organize the Silent Sentinels. She was sentenced to 7 months in the district jail and drafted the Equal Rights Amendment. Lucretia Mott, Alice Paul, or Charlotte Woodward?
Okay, let's see. It is...
It's B, Alice Paul.
Yeah, but this one, a bunch of them came in. Holy cow. Let's see. Okay. I'm trying to, okay, yeah. Ann Mazinga, I believe.
All
Yeah.
right, good job.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Next question.
Round 2.
Just go for it, Rebecca.
Okay. She was the first woman of color elected to the U.S. Congress and was a founding member of the National Women's Political Caucus. Patsy Mink, Barbara Jordan, or Shirley Chisholm?
Okay, LaKenya, let's see, LaKenya was the first on the finger this time, but oh, no one got it right. You stumped them.
Hey!
LaKenya, Mona, and Debbie all said C.
Yep.
So this was a bit of a trick question because it was woman of color.
Yeah, she's Hawaiian.
She is. Yes, she is. And she's fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, so nobody for that one. Okay. First Black woman in Congress, elected in 1968 and a vocal advocate for early child education. She became the first major party Black candidate for U.S. president. Shirley Chisholm, Angela Davis, or Rosa Parks?
Okay.
There you go, guys.
Mona is the first, and Mona got it right with A as well. But again, our keynote speaker, Janice Mathis, and
Hey.
all quickly behind.
Okay.
No.
Great.
Latina labor activist, co-founded the United Farm Workers Union. She served for over 2 decades as the union's vice president and chief lobbyist. Laura Luna, Dolores Huerta, Luisa Moreno.
And looks like Ann Mazingo again was the fast one, followed quickly by Janice Mathis.
Okay.
And Ann got it right?
Yep.
Good.
All right. Good job.
Great. Good. She solicited donations and took them directly into Civil War battlegrounds to get food, bandages, and medical supplies to the wounded, sometimes driving the wagons herself. Mary Edwards Walker, Clara Barton, or Louisa May Alcott?
And let's see. Oh, another one where we stumped our first one, Ann. So the second one, Karen and Mary. Karen and Mary both got it.
All right.
Good.
A prolific writer, also director and professor, she was known as the Black Woman's Poet Laureate and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Toni Morrison, Anna Howard Shaw, Maya Angelou.
And it looks like Mona gets that one again, followed by Karen, Ann, and Mary. We know who the women's studies majors were here.
Very good.
Awesome.
Okay. Multimillionaire heiress who supported the New York Shirtwaist Makers strike and was a founder of the National Women's Party. She helped fund the 1913 Women's Suffrage March. Was it Gloria Vanderbilt, Margaret Morrison Carnegie, or Alva Vanderbilt Belmont?
Okay, Karen comes in. Ooh, another hard one. Karen answered B, and it's C. Ah, shoot. I just gave the answer away.
Okay.
So.
Well, I had already gone to the answer screen. I'll be honest, I didn't know that one either. So that was a tough one.
This is, so nobody got that then?
Nobody got this one.
Okay, well, we have to end right here because we need to go to our video with our anthem. Just so you know, Belmont funded the Belmont House in Washington, D.C. So it looked like Karen Avelius was first, and Ann, Janice, and Mona were tied for second place. So
all right.
There'll be 4 prizes going out to Karen, Ann, Janice, and Mona.
Good job, guys.
Okay. All right, we have our final music.
I was just playing for fun. I don't want the prize.
Oh, okay.
That was cute, though. That was lots of fun.
Same is true of me, or I should say grammatically.
Okay. 1 second while I get my notes here.
It was nice of you to paint your room purple, Karen, to match the suffrage colors. Thank you for that.
I aim to please.
I'm looking for my notes. I apologize. This is an anthem that was originally written by Joyce Rouse for suffragists who came before us, and Kate Campbell Stevenson recorded this in her living room during COVID. I'm going to get this up.
While she's doing that, I just want to say the best way we can honor the suffragists and all of the women who have worked is to vote.
I am standing on the shoulders of the...
I'm sorry, can everybody hear that?
You hear it, can't see it.
Oh, shoot. All right.
Share screen, yeah.
This was the problem I had before. No, it's not letting me share screen. Let's see if I can.
If you send me the link, I can share it.
I can't send it, that's the problem.
Okay. Well, we could just listen to it and not see it.
Play it.
Can I just go ahead and play it?
Play it. Yeah.
Yes. From the beginning. That's too bad.
I am standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. I am stronger for their courage. I am wiser for their words. I am lifted by their longing for a fair and brighter future. I am grateful for their vision, for their toiling on this earth. We are standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before us. They are saints and they are angels. They are humans, they are friends. We can see beyond the troubles and the struggles and the challenge. And we know that by our efforts, things will be better in the end. They lift me higher than I could never fly, carrying my burdens away. I am better in the world. If they hadn't tried, we wouldn't be so very blessed today. I am standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before us. I am grateful for their passion, for our liberty. I will stand a little taller, I will work a little longer, and my shoulders will be there to hold the ones who follow me. They lift me higher than I could ever fly, carrying my burdens shoulders will be there.